From his hiding place, Francisco heard the muffled noises of a struggle, bodies crashing into furniture and each other, several thuds. There was a gunshot, then another, then silence, followed by the sound of scrambling feet running away. After what seemed an endless period of silence, Francisco found the courage to come out of his hiding place. He rushed to wake up Bertha Sanchez, a nurse volunteer staying in the parish complex, and he ran to alert the Carmelite sisters in the convent across the courtyard from the rectory. "They killed him! They killed Padre Francisco!" The women ran in and found Father Stanley shot in the head and lying in a pool of his blood. They immediately began to pray. His dear friend Bertha pronounced Stanley Francis Rother dead at the scene. The Santiago Atitlan Mission, a return to ministry. How a 46-year-old priest from a small German farming community in Oklahoma came to live and die in this remote, ancient Guatemalan village is a story full of wonder and God's providence. When Pope St. John XXIII requested in the early 1960s that North Americans send missionaries to South and Central America, the Oklahoma Church responded. In 1964, the then Diocese of Oklahoma City and Tulsa took over the care of the Church of St. James the Apostle, Santiago Apostol, the heart of the oldest parish in the Diocese of Sololá, dating back to the 16th century. But no resident priest had served the indigenous Tz'utujil community of Santiago Atitlan for almost a century. Oklahoma priests, sisters, and lay workers served the mission until 2000, when sufficient growth in local vocations allowed the Guatemala Diocese, now called the Diocese of Sololá-Chimaltenango, to resume pastoral care. From the onset, that first Oklahoma missionary team understood that the Tz'utujil are an agricultural people who retain much of their ancient Mayan culture and pride. This was a perfect fit for Father Stanley, a farming boy from the western Oklahoma town of Okarche. When he arrived at Santiago Atitlan in 1968, Father Stanley instantly fell in love with the volatile and stunning land of volcanoes and earthquakes, but above all, with its people. His Tz'utujil Indian parishioners called him Padre Oplas, which translates as Francis or Francisco in the native Tz'utujil language. When speaking in Spanish, they called Father Stanley Padre Francisco, based on Francis, his middle name, because it was easier to pronounce than the Spanish for Stanley, Estanislao. Over his years of service, Father Stanley helped develop a farmers' co-op, a nutrition center, a school, a hospital clinic, and the first Catholic radio station in the area, which was used for catechesis. And although he did not institute the project, he was a critical driving force in developing Tz'utujil as a written language, which led to translations of the liturgy of the Mass and the lectionary, with the New Testament in Tz'utujil being published after his death. In the most tangible way, Father Stan exemplified with his life and through his vocation what Pope Francis described regarding the distinctive ministry of men and women who choose a consecrated life. A radical approach is required of all Christians, but religious persons are called upon to follow the Lord in a special way. They are men and women who can awaken the world. Consecrated life is prophecy. Pope Francis emphasized, God asks us to fly the nest and to be sent to the frontiers of the world, avoiding the temptation to domesticate them. This is the most concrete way of imitating the Lord. If it is my destiny that I should give my life here, then so be it. Once Guatemala's civil war found its way to the peaceful villages surrounding beautiful Lake Atitlan, many people like Father Stanley's own catechists began to disappear regularly. Father Stanley's response was to show his people the way of love and peace with his life. He walked the roads looking for the bodies of the dead, to bring them home for a proper burial, and he fed the widows and orphans of those killed or disappeared. In a letter dated September 1980 to the bishops of Tulsa and Oklahoma City, Father Stanley described the political and anti-church climate in Guatemala. The reality is that we are